welcome to the right track. I'm really excited to introduce you guys today to Monique DeBose. She has a resume to die for. She's a playwright. She's a singer-songwriter. She's a transformational coach. She's a very, very bright light in this world. And I think you're really going to love what she has to say. Welcome to the right track. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Paloma. I'm so excited to be on it. This show is great.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And it's an honor to have you here. I've been listening to your album literally all day. There's several songs on it that make me want to cry. Like I was doing my makeup and listening and like holding back some tears. Like honestly, you really have something amazing and I can't wait to ask you all about it. So tell me about you. Tell me about your message to the world and how you put that into your music.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for that so much. That means a lot because my work is, it is my own very personal work. So when somebody is moved by it, it means the world. So thank you. I am a singer, songwriter, as you know, and I have two main messages that I really infuse, or like they are the lens through all the art that I create. So one of them is when we own all the parts of ourselves, only then are we truly free. And so with my art, with my music, I'm always trying to make space for people to be a little more gentle with themselves, to be a little more loving and accepting of themselves, because that's always been my journey. And then the second message is I really help people move from seeing in black and white to living in full color. I feel like we are given this one life in this way, and I want to make the most of it. And I know I'm not the only one out there. So everything that I do is all leaning towards that space so that we can love and accept all of who we are so we can have the best lives we want.
I love that. I love that. And can you explain, what does it mean, black and white versus color? Like what does that mean to you?
Sure. Okay. So that's a very personal message as well. It's on so many levels. What I mean by black and white is kind of like the binary thinking. It's just like this or that. I can't make room for all of what life has to offer. And that's what I mean when I say color. So oftentimes we walk around and we want to show people our best front. That makes complete sense. But there are parts of us that maybe other people might not appreciate so much, or we feel like we won't be accepted if those are seen. And I feel that when we're willing to accept those things about ourselves and really embrace them, we just become that much more vivacious and alive. So that's what I mean by that. But on a very personal level, I wrote a one-woman show called Mulatto Math, Summing Up the Race Equation in America. And it really looked at my upbringing as a mixed race person, half African-American, half Irish-American. So the black and white, I'm moving from the binary thinking to full color.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And tell me more about that. The one woman show. What was that?
Sure. So it really looked at race and identity in the United States. Actually before the summer of racial reckoning, last 2020, but it looked at race and identity through the lens of a mixed race woman, but looking at the entire country and how we deal and really don't deal with race. So it was a really fun hybrid of all the things I love. I wrote 9 original songs. I got to play like 14 different characters in it. And it's filled with math equations. I got a degree in mathematics. So I used math as a way to, explore race and identity and how we come up with the equation that makes us us. So it was a really fun project.
That's blows my mind. How could math possibly, how could that represent it? I mean, I'm having a hard time.
So well, just one simple thing at the very beginning, I talk about, my dad's black, my mom's white. So you got the equation B plus W equals question mark. What does that make me? And so as we go through the show and we look at all the complexities of the United States and the history that we don't often acknowledge, I'm putting all these variables into the equation. So by the end of the show, the equation is so big and complex. It's revealed that we really can't, we're bigger than equations. We are such complex beings that we can't define ourselves in a very clean, easy way.
Of course not. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And when it comes to your music, where do you get your inspiration for your songs and what's your writing process?
Sure. Okay. So inspiration for songs is always very personal, things that move me, things that I'm working through, things that inspire me. So they always start from that place. And then writing process is really interesting. And there's so many different ways it happens. Sometimes I'm just sitting at the piano and I'm improving and creating these beautiful like patterns of chords. Sometimes lyrics just show up to me and I'm like, what would that sound like? What kind of music does that belong to? And then other times I'm collaborating with great songwriting partners. A lot of this project, I collaborated with my brothers from another mother, Isaac and Torald Corin. And our process is, digging deep on what I'm trying to express and then, sharing tons of ideas to the pot. And then we're going away and coming up with pieces and then just really collaboratively coming together and doing it. So it's all kinds of ways. And I also do a lot of vocal improv. So sometimes I'll do 40 days of improv where I'll just let myself sit down, no attachment to what will come out, and I'll improv for even just 5 minutes a day. And lots of ideas for tunes come out that way as well.
That's amazing. So your team is is a 3-person team?
3-person team. Yeah. When we're collaborating. Yep.
Really cool. Really cool. And I see some cellos behind you and I'm wondering how many instruments do you play?
Well, one of them is not the cello. I don't play the cello. That's my son's cello, the little one. And the big one I always wanted to play. And when I could actually buy one, I bought one. Still haven't learned how to play it yet. I play the piano. That's pretty much what I play, the piano. I have a guitar and I can move around with it. But really when I'm writing, I'm working on piano.
Okay, so you touched on something I really want to get into. So you're also a mom.
Yes.
And, I'm not a mom, not yet. And I'm wondering, how do you make time for kids and also for this awesome music career that you've developed?
Girlfriend, how much time do we have? It's a very interesting journey. I'm at a place now where my sons are 10 and almost 8. And so there's more space, before, everything that happened with the virus. They were in school full time and there was space in the day to actually get my bearings back and create. But there was a period that was challenging for me, and I find this with a lot of moms and a lot of the women I work with in the coaching realm. A lot of women are expected to work like they don't have children and then parent like they don't have work. And so it's that balance all the time of figuring out how to make space for yourself and then also being gentle with yourself as much as you can be, knowing that you can't do everything at 100% all at once. So it's been a journey of trust and really just surrendering to when the time is right, I will be able to come into my art more in the way I want. So I'm in that sweet spot right now.
That's amazing. And as a transformational coach, can you tell me a little bit about how you work with your clients and what the goal is?
Sure. Yeah. The goal is always created with the client. It's not this is what's happening. I have my general ideas, those 2 ideas I laid out to you at the beginning. But really it's, a conversation with each woman or each man, really checking in into what are they needing? What are they thinking they're needing? And what am I seeing that they're actually requiring of me? So it's a very bespoke experience with each client. But the general overview is owning more of who they are. And a big part of that often is learning more of who they are, because so often we just grow up and we think, oh, okay, well, this is who I am. And people define us out in the world. But I make space for people to really look at all of who they are. And then they get to play with what works for them and what are they here to really do and be in the world.
So do you have specific exercises or how do you pull that out of somebody?
Well, it's not specific exercises per se. It's conversation, it's intuition, it's being a space that is really solid trust and really safety. That's really one of the things that I to toot my own horn, I'm very gifted in. People tell me things all the time. Even people, they often say when it's not a coaching relationship, I don't know why I just told you all that. And I know enough now to know that that's just what happens. So really just making space for people to reveal themselves. That's what most people want. People want to see and be seen. They want to love and be loved. They want to, hear and be heard. That's really it. So I create space for that and really infuse with the music often and movement, and conversation, of course, infuse like space and safety for them to kind of feel into, what am I here to do? Who am I here to be? And they get to try that on with me.
That's so cool. And so your album, You Are the Sovereign One, has all these tracks. And so you've incorporated sort of a message into each one. And then based on that, you are coaching?
Yes. So this is a whole new program that is very exciting. But I've taken 7 songs from the album project, and I'm taking women on a 7-week journey. And by the end of the journey, they will have more access to themselves. They will be able to step into dreams that they've been afraid to step into. They'll be able to say things that they were afraid to speak, and they'll be able to go after them. So 7 songs will lead, each week is a different theme, and we jump in and begin with the music, because I feel like music is such a safe way. I feel music and art, even with my one woman show talking about race and identity, nobody wants to talk about that really. But I feel like art is such a graceful way, a graceful entry point for people to let themselves be moved, to let themselves, access more of themselves. So it's a great tool. So I'm looking forward to it.
Could you name some of the titles for some of the tracks that
Oh,
you'll
sure.
be using?
Yes. So one of the songs is Thank You Victimizer, which is always an edgy title for people. And that song, we're going to be talking about the theme of your life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you. One of the songs is Human Condition. And the lesson with that is you'll stop trying to fight who you actually are. And then one other one I'll just offer you is my song More, which is, a lesson around really giving women the permission to have even more of what they want. So each song will have its theme and its lesson, and we have lots of exercises and fun activities, and it's being done in a group. I really do believe in the power of community and the power of being witnessed. So these women will witness each other for these 7 weeks. And I promise you, it's going to be phenomenal for them. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
I'm excited. I want to join. I mean, that sounds amazing. So it's in person, right? It's not over.
Well, it's going to be over Zoom because I've got a woman who's enrolled in Singapore. I've got women in England. I've got women in Belgium. And of course, here in the United States. And it starts October 5th. So depending on airing time, people can still sign up for it.
That's great. Well, if it's okay with you, we'll post the link below so that people who decide to want to join, they can click on it and
absolutely. Thank you. Yeah.
So question on some lyrics. Okay.
Sure.
So on your song More, you said something like take my ovaries off the shelf.
Yes.
And I wondered about that. I thought, well, it meant something to me, but I want to know what it meant to you and what that was.
I 100% will tell you. I'm so curious what it meant to you though first. I will tell you the real definition, but I'm curious what you took from it.
I guess I thought it meant like, let me put my womanhood on the shelf for a second and just be a person.
That's the beauty of music. No, you weren't wrong. That's your interpretation, and that's perfect for you if that works. That's not what I meant. So okay. It's good. Oh, I need a minute to myself. I'm going to take my ovaries off the shelf and be the woman that I know I am. So oftentimes you hear in a lot of like masculine energy, it's like, oh, that guy, where are his balls? Like, come on, be a man. So It's very toxic. Yes. But I played with that, and it's like, oh, I'm going to be a woman. I'm going to take my ovaries off the shelf. Like, I'm going to stop being afraid to be this voluptuous, vivacious, creative, feminine being. So I'm grabbing my ovaries back, and I'm being the woman that I know I was meant to be. I'm not choosing fear. I'm not choosing worry. I'm being my full womanness. So
that's cool. That's cool. Your interpretation is much cooler than mine. But it's good. I'm glad I asked because I wish everyone had access to artists to figure out, what they meant by whatever, they said.
Yes.
The other one I really liked was it called Brown Beauty? And
Yes.
he said, make no mistake, I love you. And you just kept repeating it over and over. And, although maybe I don't have brown beauty, I thought of like my sister who I've been having problems with. And it just was like, make no mistake, I love you, over and over. And just, it's so pretty and powerful, like to say to anyone.
Yes.
I thought the repetition of it was powerful. Because you didn't
Absolutely.
just say it once, you like repeated it over and over. I was like, oh my God.
Yes,
That's so good.
that's really the chorus of that song.
Yeah.
And I love it because it's almost a mantra. It's a meditation. It's a like, just
Yeah.
make no mistake, I love you.
Mm.
I really do. Because I feel like with that song actually opens my one woman show. And then we actually recorded it and added some to it. It is speaking to all the women and really any person at this point, but anybody who has ever felt like they are walking the line, that they don't get to pull all of who they are into a space. And so we did a real campaign on it around, Black women, women of color, who often have to, navigate complex systems to, just be seen somewhat. So it was like, I see you, I love you, I celebrate you. And it's really funny. A lot of the reviews of that song were great piece, but it didn't go anywhere. Or, we love it, but we thought it would, up level to the next place. And we thought about that when we produced it. But we really just kind of said, this one will take one for the team because it's really about the mantra and just getting that gentle message across. So, oh, well, reviewers.
Completely disagree with those reviewers because that was one of the songs that actually moved me the most.
Yes.
And of course, Human Condition, loved that one too. That's
Yes,
the first song on the album. So, I've heard that one the most.
Sure.
I play albums in order and I shouldn't, but
no, you should. I think it's a journey. I love it. Yeah. You're a listener. That's great. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. So so that's so cool. So you're doing this transformational coaching. You've got this event, right? This sort of group event that happens on October 5th. Mm-hmm. And then obviously we're going to post like where you can find the event, how you can sign up, and where to find your album, because you guys, you need to listen to this album. It is incredible. And your voice is so cool. I can hear the training as a vocal coach. I'm like,
thank you.
She's got these, like, you do this sort of like, you let your voice break into like this falsetto thing. And I'm like, whoa,
yeah,
it's so good. And it's so controlled, and like, it's controlled yet raw. I can't quite explain, but it's so beautiful. So
thank you. That means so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And then, so for somebody who's watching, who is like maybe an up and coming artist, and they maybe haven't yet found their message to the world, or maybe they are sort of, okay, let's be honest, the world of music right now is so Instagram and social media focused that even I struggle with like presenting my real and vulnerable self to the world. A lot of times I'm way too insecure to show that part of me. So I'm writing party songs and stuff like that, like things that I know how to talk about. And sometimes don't dig in to like find like some of the deepest parts of myself to actually put in a song. Like, would you give any advice to people, like a little bit of a pathway to maybe find that part of themselves to be that vulnerable in their songs?
Sure. Yeah. That's such a big question. Well, here's what I believe. I believe that when we make space and quiet, and write without any intention for it going anywhere else, but for the act of writing, I think a lot of themes and ideas that are personal to us show up. They show themselves on paper. And so one of the things that I often offer to people, and it will be happening, in a lot of the work that I do with people, is we'll write and just let the hand go. And then at the end of it, bless it and throw it away. tear it up and put it in the trash, because we're just opening up the pipeline to accessing ourselves. And then I feel like, honestly, there is real beauty in being able to write that pop party song. That's one of my like desires at some point in life. But I'm in the lane that I feel like I've been put on the planet to be in. But I do look over there from time to time and be like, oh, that seems so great. They probably get paid a lot more than I do. But I feel like the things that always show up in your head, that speech that is always going, when you make space to really listen to it, that is your way in. If you would let yourself just write down what is actually moving through your head, again, with no attachment to, no commitment to it being something that you have to put out, but you just open the floodgates and you clear out the pipeline so things can really flow. And then you get to decide what you do with it. But having access to it is really important. And it will make you, I'm not speaking specifically to you, Paloma, but to people who are listening. It'll make you a stronger, more, filled out storyteller, songwriter.
Yeah, I really think that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, and it makes so much sense. You take some time, write some stuff without the intention of going, oh, I'm going to write a song. Just maybe write. Is that what I mean? Just start writing, let it flow. And if you have to tear it up later, you're not going to use it, that's fine. But at least getting the flow going.
Yeah, it's not even about writing a song. It's just like, anything that wants to come out of you. It could be nothing related to music. It could be nothing lyrical. I probably won't be, but it's just cleaning out the flood, like opening up the floodgates for you.
Really, really cool. I love that. And so shout out to Nina Bosky for introducing us, by the way.
She's so amazing.
Nina? She's been a career life coach to me lately. And so I wondered how she connected us.
So Nina, I know we're both members of the Association for Transformational Leaders. Oh. And so I met Nina that way. And funnily enough, like I'm now working on one of her projects as an artist, and that feels so exciting. So it's beautiful. Just, she's a wonderful person, and I'm so grateful our paths have crossed.
Totally. Yes. I love her. And so what's next for you? So you've got this thing coming up, right? You're doing the transformational, what do you call this? A group?
Well, I would say it's a group program. It's an experience. You Are the Sovereign One experience, a 7-week journey. Yeah. So I'm doing that. I'm working on a creative project with Nina, funny enough, that will be, coming out and be able to talk about that more later. And I'm in conversation with, some really beautiful production companies around making Mulatto Math, the one woman play, an actual like scripted series. So those pieces are all in the works. And I'm imagining it's very funny. Like, once you put out a project, that's when I feel like I've like birthed it out into the world. And now song ideas are just showing themselves again. I'm like, really? Already? We're going again? So writing more music. So it's very exciting.
That's so cool. Well, I'm wishing you so much success. I will definitely continue to follow you because I can't wait to see all these cool things that you're doing. Thank you. Again, I'm going to remind everyone, listen to that album. So good. Going to drop the link below. Anything else you want to tell our viewers before we sort of wrap up?
Well, I have really appreciated this time with you. If there is something that you are called to do, trust that you are the one meant to do it. So that piece I really want to leave with people, because that's always something I'm telling myself as well. Trust that you are here for a very specific purpose, and you can move forward in that, knowing that. Yeah, that's it. You please follow and like the things I'm doing. You can find me on Instagram. I'm sure it's all in there, but I am Monique DeBose on Instagram and Facebook. And check out the music and leave me a comment. Let me know how it moved you.
Awesome, Monique. Well, thank you for being such an awesome light in this world. And thank you again for being on the show. I really appreciate it. And you gave us some really good gold to think about.